right, Panthers. So in class, you read a little bit of book 1, and then it summarized a whole bunch of the Odyssey. And for your homework, this video is going to start you out with the beginning of book 9, New Coast and Poseidon's Son. It's page 372 in your book. If you'd like to follow along, I'm also screencasting it here in the video. So it starts out with a section that's in italics. We know that that means that it's summarizing a chunk that your textbook is skipping over. And in this case, it's actually summarizing books 2 through 8 and jumping all the way up to book 9. So when we finished that first page of book 1, we found out that Odysseus was gone for the Trojan War, and then he's been gone for another 10 years trying to get home across the Mediterranean while his wife is waiting at home, besieged by suitors who are invading her house, and his son Telemachus is going to set out to try to find him. So now we're seeing book 9, where Odysseus starts telling his story. Book 9, New Coasts and Poseidon's Son. For 7 of the 10 years Odysseus has spent wandering the Mediterranean Sea, he has been held captive by the goddess Calypso on her island. In book 5, Zeus sent the god Hermes to tell Calypso to release Odysseus. She helps him build a raft on which he can sail to his next destination. He must sail for 20 days before landing on the island of Scheria, where he will be helped in his effort to return home. In books 6 through 8, Odysseus is welcomed by King Alcinous, who gives a banquet in his honor. That night, the king begs Odysseus to tell who he is and what has happened to him. In books 9 through 12, Odysseus relates to the king his adventures. So we're going to be reading a lot of this, books 9 through 12, Odysseus telling the king about his adventures. And so now we're listening to this in Odysseus's voice. Things you should look for are like just basically what happened to Odysseus and how does he present himself when he's introducing himself. I am Laertes' son. That's our title there. What shall I say first? What shall I keep until the end? The gods have tried me in 1,000 ways. But first, my name. Let that be known to you. And if I pull away from pitiless death, friendship will bind us, though my land lies far. I am Laertes' son, Odysseus. Men hold me formidable for guile in peace and war. This fame has gone abroad to the sky's rim. So we notice there, lines 7 through 8, we have a note off here to the side that explains what that means. Men hold me formidable for guile in peace and war means they consider him impressive for his cunning and craftiness. He's letting this king know, like, here's the main thing you should know about me. I am really sneaky and tricky and come up with good plans in war, and that's what makes me a hero. My home is on the peaked sea mark of Ithaca, under Mount Neon's wind-blown robe of leaves, in sight of the other islands, Dulichium, Same, wooden Zacynthus, Ithaca being the most lofty in that coastal sea, and northwest, while the rest lie east and south. A rocky isle, but good for a boy's training. I shall not see on earth a place more dear, though I have been detained long by Calypso, loveliest among goddesses, who held me in her smooth caves, to be her heart's delight, as Circe of Aea, the enchantress, desired me and detained me in her hall. So wait, we found out in the last book that Odysseus' wife Penelope is at home waiting for him for 20 years while he's gone. And now Odysseus is casually mentioning right here that he, this note explains it, has been detained long by Calypso, loveliest among goddesses. Not just any goddess, but the prettiest of all, have kept him on their islands. Calypso for 7 years and Circe for some amount of time that we don't know. And he's not just like held captive there. I mean, he says he's detained, but he is kind of hinting that it's not really like the worst kind of captivity he could be held in. But he does add, but in my heart, I never gave consent. So even though he was there for 7 years and they were having their way with him, it wasn't really what deep down in his heart he wanted to be having. Like, this isn't what the life he wanted to choose for himself. Because, and we're right here, where shall a man find sweetness to surpass his own home and his parents? In far lands, In far lands he shall not, though he find a house of gold. So no matter what he finds when he's traveling, no matter how far he goes, no matter how lovely other things seem, how tempting they are, even if they're a house of gold, nothing can surpass his own home and his parents. So we know that deep down in his heart, he's trying to get home. This is his biggest, deepest desire, right? And he concludes it, "What of my sailing then from Troy? What of those years of rough adventure weathered under Zeus?" And then we switch to some more italics, so we're summarizing the rest of what he's telling here. Odysseus explains that soon after leaving Troy, he and his crew land near Ismarus, the city of the Cicones. The Cicones are allies of the Trojans and therefore enemies of Odysseus. Odysseus and his crew raid the Cicones, robbing and killing them, until the Ciconian army kills 72 of Odysseus's men and drives the rest out to sea. Delayed by a storm for 2 days, Odysseus and his remaining companions then continue their journey. And that concludes that section. Watch the next video for the Lotus Eaters.